All right. Hello and welcome to Conscious Momentum number 11, everybody. Today we will hone in on that one thing all successful people have in common: the ability to communicate. You are probably all very familiar with Maya Angelou's famous quote, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." So the ability to communicate is your collateral assurance. And as students of Quantum University, we want to ensure that you all have this opportunity for special personal communications with Dr. Paul. And so thank you so much for joining us. And Dr. Paul, thank you so much for coming on the call again with us. Welcome.
Welcome everybody to Conscious Momentum.
You looked great, whatever you had going on there. It looked all perfect.
Okay, good. Okay, welcome everybody to Conscious Momentum. And every time I start it, I remind you what is the purpose of this broadcasting is to keep you in your program, motivate, inspire you. And I'm all the time coming back with the same motto. It's like a little every day. And this is how you accomplish great things. And one time a student told me, he said, you know, how many life you have? You cannot have done all these degree and courses. But I just done a little every day. Even I was in the midst of my practice in Canada with 100 clients a week and a family to raise. And so I will wake up in the morning and have an hour studying homeopathy or preparing the exam for licensed acupuncture and so on. And as it goes, you know, you don't realize, but you accumulate information. So, and when you sign up in the program, again, it's like it's look like a mountain. But if you follow a method where you do every day, and then you also print your questionnaire, and as it goes, you know, you complete the course. Some people sometimes do the video and they procrastinate the exam and they come back, and I saw this many times, and they just want, you know, butterfly. But no, this is I recommend more systematic approach. And why we have designed the course on the iPad is because you can carry this iPad everywhere you go. And and I was doing the same thing. If I, for example, do some exercise, I will have a little earphone, I record the voice. This is how I memorize hundreds of homeopathic names, and never losing a minute in the day to memorize. And memorize is repetition. Some people think, okay, I go to Conscious Momentum, I listen, and then everything will happen. Or study group is nice, but at the end of the day, there is one thing the group cannot do for you. It's you know, learning and studying. Even if you have a group, you have to go back and memorize new concept. And some book we have in the curriculum, like the Quantum Doctor, I cannot believe you can read this just one time and understand the whole concept, because I read it probably more than 10 times, and I'm still coming back and referring to this fundamental work, and some also with the course. So we are you know, improving classes all the time. So it's important. It's not because you have finished the class then you have integrate all the concept. No, it's good to have your iPad, really some class like the Taoist medicine, 5 pillars, all the concept. So I remind you this because there is no magic, okay? Because at the beginning I was giving workshop, and people like it. They like to sit with me, and then they come for a weekend, and there's this kind of atmosphere of group and you know, talking between each other. And then 2 months after, they will come for another class. But in between, nobody didn't have any studies. You know, they will not open the books, they will not learn. And then I will be a little bit, I'm not impatient, but I cannot believe, this. If you go university, you go college, there is information that need to be ingrained in your computer. And this is what also we have the super learning. I remind you this, it's very important. It's a tool that we have built with Dr. Porter. So when students sign, many of you have got the brain tap, even though you didn't get the brain tap. For all my course, there is like a file where for 30 minutes, we review all the concept of the class. So I recommend you use this. So it's another way, another angle to program or learn the concept. So as every conscious momentum, we come with a testimonial. This is today with Dr. Vienna Lafrenz. She's also one of our dear students with the Quantum University. She's done some mentorship, and now she's also committed to train other mentors. And this is the example of someone that has manifest her dream, and you have seen, from the beginning, so different kind of type of practice, so different type of expressing this program that you have at the Quantum University. And but for her dream was to have this center in Seattle, Washington State, out of the grid, and in a place that is totally natural. And she made it happen. Today she has this with her life partner, this center, and she's a client, and she's blossoming there. The choice of modality, you go vary from one student to another. So you will see in this testimonial and the way she has some way express this reality of the doctor in natural medicine. So let's watch this together.
And many of you will have met already Vienna at our last Congress. Oh, right. I'll make this. There we go.
My name is Vienna Lafrenz. I am an integrative medicine doctor. I received my PhD at Quantum University. So I went into natural medicine because prior to that, I was working as an occupational therapist. And I was seeing that we weren't treating the whole person. We were really just looking at symptoms and physical conditions. And when I started delving into the natural medicine way of looking at health, then you actually get a true healing that occurs. I've always been interested in acupuncture and acupressure. And so I learned that initially as learning the acupressure piece and started implementing that into my practice. But I really got into the Reiki becoming a Reiki practitioner and seeing how energy really influences people. And as I started bringing those into my OT practice, I saw a huge change in the way in which people responded, how they recovered, and so on. So I did have some previous experience prior to going into quantum, which is why I wanted to learn more. I was actually at lunch with a colleague friend of mine. She was also an OT at the time. And we were both really wanting to go into more of the natural medicine realm, become a natural doctor, whatever realm we could get into. And she told me about quantum. And that night, I got back to my hotel room. I looked them up. I made contact with them. The very next day, they called me. And I actually enrolled the very next day. Well, professionally, I've been able to open up my own private practice here in Washington State, and I love it. As a result of that, I'm able to see clients and work with them, identify what their energetic needs are, and being able to resolve some of those needs. There are so many healing modalities and tools that I use. Many of that is the intuition that you develop when you're with a client, to know truly what it is that they're looking for and what is it that they need. But then having the other modalities to back it up. So I use a lot of quantum biofeedback, which really is a phenomenal tool to identify energetically what's going on in the body. But then I like to do a lot of body work as well, which is I love that part, because that's when you really get to connect with the client. So I usually get here a good hour and a half before any of my clients show up. The main reason is I like to make sure that the environment is welcoming, that the energy's been cleared, but then I also do remote work. So it's not just what I do here in the clinic. I also do some work over the phone or through Skype or so on, where I actually can do some remote work from people. I have some that I'm working from in Ohio, Michigan, Arizona, Alaska, California, where I can actually work with them, and I usually focus on those at night. I love my clients, and they love me back, and I know it because I feel their openness with me. They also realize that what they get here in this practice is so much different than what they get in a normal setting, and that they get literally 2 hours of my undivided attention, where I'm not working with somebody else, I'm just with them. Look at your whole person. Don't just focus on physical, don't just focus on emotional. Look at the whole body and really think about frequencies, the amount of frequencies that you're either bringing in or taking out. So living your life in gratitude, love, all of those high frequencies, because they have a huge impact on everything we do. Complementary alternative medicine is the only way of the future. I believe the role of complementary alternative medicine is to get people off medications, plain and simple. First of all, I love Quantum University. I love Dr. Paul and Alexi, who have really been the visionary people behind Quantum University. They made the university so affordable that people can actually go that typically are working full time. I would recommend Quantum University to anybody who's interested in natural medicine. And part of the reason why is they've designed the whole curriculum to provide a clinician a complete balance. My most surprising when I was doing a quantum biofeedback session on a client who had Graves' disease, which is a thyroid disorder. And as I'm working with her, she indicated that her eyes were getting smaller, and she kind of freaked out a little bit, and she screamed, and she said, "My eyelids feel really heavy." And I said, "Well, grab a mirror. Let's look and see what's going on." And she looked and she said, "My eyes are getting smaller. Is that normal?" And I said, "Well, if your thyroid is working, then yes." And so after that, she went and had her endocrinologist and went and had things tested, and her thyroid was looking so much better from just one biofeedback session. So yes, that was probably my most amazing one, to know that through the quantum field, you can still have a huge healing.
So this is the time of a question, and then I can see a trend in the question today about illusion and holistic anatomy and so on. So let's go to the question. It's very important, and I think it will also hopefully I will enlighten what we are talking about when we speak about the 5 body of consciousness and holistic anatomy and subtle energy and so on. This is very important, and we have to realize that as we grow as a practitioner and as we grow as a student, these reality become more and more clear, or more and more real. So let's shall we go with the first question?
Sure. Our students are so grateful to have this opportunity to ask you their personal questions, but likewise as staff, we appreciate all of your remarks and insights as well. So thank you, everyone. Our first question comes from Mater. She's a student who is not able to attend today. However, she always looks forward to receiving the recorded version. So she's asking, is it over the top or considered pretentious for a quantum health coach to wear a white lab coat?
It's all a question of context. Something we use marketing and we put people with a white coat. It's all a question of context, because you can be working in a setup of healthcare, in a clinic. You can be working also a wellness clinic, and I saw people wearing the white coat. It's a question of judgment too. I realize that, as you grow as a practitioner and as you build your credential, you want to fit in this kind of, I will say, expectation of the client, because you don't want, already integrative natural medicine, it's not this strange, but they already have to be familiar or adapt to new concept. But then if you change the whole environment and you look so very different than what they are expecting. So I will give you an example. When I start my I was a medical doctor. Of course, I worked in medical clinic, hospital, all kind of professional setup. But when came a time that I decide to more express this holistic medicine. So I went and I bought like a domain, and the house has a possibility to adapt the clinic. So already, I was doing a move where, people will still expect to see a doctor. So I kept like the setup, that they are used to see. Let's say you have a receptionist, you have the doctor office, and then when they will go at the other level, then you will have like a homeopathic pharmacy. Because at that time, you can imagine 20 years ago, all these natural products, probiotics and homeopathy were not available around. So the client had to accommodate them. And but when they will walk in the farm, I call that an officine, but it looks like a pharmacy. Have someone that will prepare the prescription. We should not use the word prescription, but they will really like a protocol, and they will go downstairs, and they are familiar to do this. Most of the time they go to a clinic, and when after they see the doctor, they go to the pharmacy. It's not something that is totally unusual. So I just look at Vienna, she's doing different technique that can be familiar, but you look at the whole setup around it look like a wellness center. They're familiar to see this, they're familiar to see massage. They don't, it's like you don't want be too fringe and have like dress like a shaman, or you're allowed to do whatever you want, but for me I'm more mainstream. So you don't. And the white coat, could be something that if you're comfortable with. I saw Justin Rees when he consult as a doctor of natural medicine. He has this kind of a short white coat, and and clients are not shocked. They feel more comfortable because this is familiar to them. But it's a question of context. Some of my students, they will not like to. They will find it's a little bit more like a mainstream. They don't want to look like medicine. My understanding is like we want to be integrated. There was a time you put alternative medicine on one side, complementary medicine, and then medicine on the other side. It's like, here's the bad and no, you don't want this. You want to, this is where is the trend now. It's like trying to integrate this new modality, even in hospital, and they are very open to it now, to the coaching, in clinic and wellness clinic and all type of services. So you want to be mainstream because the healthcare need that in some way. The healthcare now is for me it's kind of doom. I have a friend who just went to emergency room for a cream for her skin, and that was outrageous. What she has to pay for that, and what are the costs? It's like, so medicine is not affordable anymore. How many times I said that, and people think, oh, the government running the healthcare, welcome to this idea, because I come from Canada. I see the downfall of this now in Canada. In Nova Scotia, they don't even have enough family doctor now. They have a crisis. No, because when you pay doctor's salary, not, on the relation, based on the quality of the relation, you need probably 5 doctors to replace a private one. So there is a crisis there. And I don't want to go into all the details, but the solution is how you practice medicine and how we open to new modality of healing. And I remind you again, this is in university that all this happened, because this is where you define this, not only the scope of practice, but the modality that you can choose based on the model of science that is there. So we are caught now because in medical university, even some natural medicine school, the model of science is limited. You know, doesn't open to other type of healing modality. So so we just start with the code. So in other words, the model, there is a need for this a new way to look at health, a new way to be the embodiment of this medicine and I don't think it's the time now to be French. It's the time to be, you know, not necessarily mainstream, but, you know, flow in the mainstream like a Trojan horse. So, and sometimes the code, yeah, why not? You know, you are a doctor, you're totally a law. I remember one time one of my students, you know, she was using this to do her marketing. So I don't think licensed professional own the code, the white code. No, it's a health professional, and you are health professional.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. And so our second question also comes from Mater, and it's really following up on that licensed professional practitioner perspective. She's asking, or she's saying, we all know the importance of educating and empower our clients, and that of course we don't use the term diagnose or treat. However, could you please discuss specifically the terms assess, assessment, or evaluation, evaluate for any kind of health condition? Just to clarify very well, for all the terms that should be used by a quantum health coach or doctor of integrative or natural medicine, and just to compare that to or with the licensed practitioner kind of dialogue and lexicon.
So it's a so important question, because you have to understand medical doctor own this diagnostic thing. You know, this is one of the things that is the most protected, because it's all tied, you know, in other words, you know, only the doctor can make a diagnostic. So, and then from there, you know, this opened the door to pharmaceutical and surgery. So you don't want to have anyone else coming with another kind of credential to get in that box of diagnostic. So, and there is a fine line here. And you have seen this now also in the curriculum. It's not just talking about assessment, because you can be caught there if you assess with the intent to identify some pathology, you know. And I had this debate previously in Canada. You can be caught there too. So look at the way the whole curriculum has been designed around not disease, but full potentiality. And then I have insist in the concept of the quantum evaluation that we are looking at parameters, health parameters, not disease parameters. Because I believe at the end of the day, prevention and even not only prevention, but the medicine itself, if you learn to identify the bioterrain and positive parameters, you can absolutely rebalance and restore health. So yes, because assessment, you have to be careful if you assess and then you still end to identify a pathologic process. You know, they will not like this in some way. So, but again, I'm talking now to a student, a spectrum of students here. Some are licensed, they can treat, but us in some way, we can assess health parameters, we can restore, we can balance, we can in some way help the individual to reach his full potential. And this is, look at this whole medicine now, designed with diagnostic, designed with identify. I'm not saying it's not good, but you already have people doing this in the society. And do we have increased and niche the health in society with this kind of approach? No, we have medicalized. So in other words, we have find pills, we have find a medication for every problem. And now where is going the step, you know? It's like prevention. It's like, you don't take this pill, you will have this consequence. Even prevention now has been toxic or influenced by pharmaceutics. You know, all if you go a little bit on TV, I'm not watching TV all the time, but this advertisement, you know, they are totally toxic, because they said, oh, if you don't take this, your bone will break. If you don't take this pill, you will have this cardiovascular event. If no, it's not just we treat with this pill, we prevent with this pill, you know. And the whole genetic thing that is now the new window exploit the same thing. It's like, oh, you have this in your inheritage, your genes, you may have this, then you should already take this pill for that, or do this surgery for this. So it's like a window that everything has to go to the diagnostic, the disease, the pharmaceutic, or the surgery. Everything is channeled there. Now we're opening with holistic integrative medicine, the thing that, yeah, you first of all, the whole biology believe with Lipton, you know, you're not, your gene and your genetic destiny is not determined by your gene, it's determined by your environment, by your belief system, and so on. We create a medicine where we're not victim, we are responsible. And then we create a medicine which is not passive, but proactive. What can I do to avoid that? What can I do to live until 100 years old and still be with all my faculty and mobile and this? So this is another way to look at things. So this is why we have created this kind of curriculum to shift this way of thinking. So the question is very good, because yes, you can use assessment, but speak all the time in terms of potentiality. Identify the bioterrain, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever. So what you are doing is like a health protocol to answer the question, what can be done to bring this individual to its full potentiality. So you see, it's not just picking a word and twisting. It's like, you know, it's the whole approach. And if it's done this way, then you're out of the loops. And you are not only that, you are the embodiment of a new consciousness medicine. That makes sense?
Yeah, it really does. And thank you for that. I mean, I personally find it very refreshing to stop using that old paradigm language. I think it's really wonderful that we get.
But we have to create new words. This is very important. And the curriculum is there for that. It's proposing new concept, a new wording that we can bridge with the ancient system. So
it's true. That leads us right into the observer effect, but that wasn't one of our questions, so I'm just going to skip that. Let's move on to the second question. Is there a preferred crystal to use in meditation as a focus point of singularity? In other words, is rose quartz going to influence the meditation different than, say, an amethyst would, or is it better to experiment with many crystals simultaneously, like collaborating with a board meeting of 8 members, you know, all at the same time, instead of just one director calling the shots?
Yeah, very, very good question. But you know, I'm not very board member kind of guy. I was just in this conversation this morning. It's most of the time more confusing because you have this round table and everybody. But let's address the subject. Maybe everybody know or don't know. I designed in the last 2 years what I call the pro-consciousness medicine with using crystal. Oops, I'm sorry. I don't know. Can you? So for me, and I have implemented crystal. And then, of course, I look around what people are doing with crystal. Some people, you know, they just surround themselves with crystal. Everything will work because crystal, they are carrier of information. They are carrier of to shape the energy field. But what I can tell, what I am used to And I've done many experiments with it. So first of all, crystal has some property. This is obvious. And but at the end of the day, you are the one that is doing the experiment, and there's different technique of meditation. So you can use crystal, but the crystal will not necessarily shape your consciousness, will not excel just by itself. They are not, people think they are magic. You put the crystal there and then everything happens. No, it's a tool. I call that, originally I was saying, these are my toys. But at the end of the day, you are the experiment, and never forget that, okay? So because you don't want just empower the crystal, you want to empower your capacity to experience consciousness. So, and why I use crystal in the meditation, and I meditate for years without any crystal, and I speak about this in the course. I have probably 40 years of meditation, and I experienced a different technique. I went with different school. Transcendental meditation was absolutely a starting point, and I learned a lot from there. I learned, from TM, the mechanic to transcend. But I also observed that people, could meditate with TM for 20 years. Some people cannot put it there. They cannot, I'm going to say they experience nothing, but they are not that affected. They don't get this kind of addiction to it. And then I also experiment meditation with Yogananda, self-realization. They implement the breathing with this. This is what they call the Kriya Yoga. And then also experience here in Hawaii, there is what they call Tsukuyo Mahikari, the art of light, which is look a little bit like the quantum touch. So, and this is why I all express, because if people were asking to me, what are you doing for your meditation? So I was all the time trying to stay away from this question because it's so personal. But of course, for people that never meditate, they don't know where to start. And I probably in the pro-consciousness meditation take it a little bit too far because for beginners, sometimes it's just to do the mindful meditation. It's like, you just be in this alpha mode of well-being. So without not necessarily seeking transcendence or, deeper experience. That's good. Some people can do also heart rate variability with heart maths. So they have like this kind of emotional visualization. At the same time, they connect with the breathing. This is another also very interesting because heart rate variability is a very important component. So, but me, I put together the meditation with crystal, and then very soon I will have a course, an intro to this meditation, and with a crystal kit. So in other words, you buy the course for $299 and you get the crystal. And some crystals that I was interested in is this one here. It's like it's called a diamond flower, and this is imprint with some type of energy. I was interested in this structure. Why? Because this was from a company, Fostak. They were in this research now for 40 years. And not only that, they not only imprint this with some kind of energy, but they have also the pattern of flower of life. And everybody comes with some kind of theory behind. They were relating with the tachyons, and this is one of another question next. And in some way, it's like, it's helped to spin your energy field accordingly to this flower of life. And that the flower of life has ingrained a kind of a perfect structure. Nassim Haramein has spoke about this. He has, stripped this flower of life, and then we found this also in ancient temple in Egypt, and then went in China, the Forbidden City, where you have the lion under his paw has this ball with the flower of life. So in other words, there is like it's an archetype. It's like a shape that is has followed us for centuries and was also used by ancient civilization. And more they have looked at this flower of life, you know, they have found, you know, the tetrahedron, and they have shaped this around this torus field. So in other words, it's like when you hold this, it's helped to give like a more balance or equilibrium to your field. So this is what I was interested in this diamond. And if you test this with the kinesthesia, you can see there's an energy field there. And so you just holding that without they creating some kind of organization of your biofield. So the second thing I was using also is like a pendant, and these also are charged with specific energy, you know, that that connect you with, you know, your source. So it can be used as a pendant. It can be used also as a secondary crystal, because you don't want to carry this main one all the time, where you can do some acupuncture point with it. You can also meditating and giving some energy. So the main one is this one. So I use different shape. I could use also different color. I like the clear crystal quartz. And this is, as only is the cut is the Vogel cut. And there is also research behind that. Before I was using another type of crystal, and then of course through experimentation, you know, I found, you know, where, you know, the fit was the best. And not only that, during this pro consciousness course I was designing, I was monitoring heart rate variability. I was with the HeartMath sensor. I was also monitoring with Muse my brain waves. So I done this for over 6 months. And then, you know, I will already in few minutes, you know, reach, you know, the theta waves or the beta waves with the meditation. And with Muse, by example, you know, I had like and I published this in the course, it's 95%. So it's, and most of the time the average of people using the breath of the meditation, they are in the 80%, whatever. So I had a very high result. And same thing, heart rate variability. I didn't even have to think about my breath. I didn't have to think about nothing. I was already increasing dramatically my heart rate variability with the type of meditation. So, and then here is, I like this type of two polarity, because in one hand is, you know, if you are left-handed, you hold this here. And then, so in other words, at the same time you're meditating, you create some type of harmony. But then I explained this in my course. There's much more information about it. It's like, here you have the pineal. For many people, the pineal, you know, it's an access to transcendence. And then this research has shown me that in some way, explaining why some people don't experience nothing, because in some way, this pineal for anybody has microcalcification. There is a calcification of this pineal, and it's kind of dormant. People meditating for many years, this pineal most of the time has been, you know, warm up and clean, and all depend also your nutrition, your exposure to toxic EMF, and so on. You know, your experience of meditation is deeper. So, and explain this in the course too. So the crystal has what they call the piezoelectric effect. And also the pineal gland has its own electromagnetic field. So when you just approach, you know, I will put it this way, you know, the crystal, maybe you can feel it. You can feel the hit here. Maybe let's say a few inches, 1-2 inches. You know, you already creating a field between the crystal that has piezoelectric effect and your pineal gland. And it's not only that. So in other words, it's not just putting crystal around you. You can have much more with crystal. And then you have to realize, if I have a torus field, and everybody in Quantum Touch know this, they know that, you know, your hands, you know, has if you put them like this together, and I suggest you do it, you will see some type of warmth. And many Tai Chi master, when they start to teach Tai Chi, just to feel the Chi, they will say, oh, put your hands here. And then you distance them, you approach them. You can see naturally there is an energy going through your hands. And this of course, you have to look at your own biofield, this biothermal field, and then, in some way you can use this energy, to enhance your pineal. And many people that has practiced yoga, if they hold their hands like this, after a while, they don't even, this is not the muscle, it's just the energy that hold the hand. So I explained this all in the course. You cannot get this in a few minutes here. So, but it's just to give the answer about the crystal. So in other words, you hold the hands like this, but then when you use, you don't even feel the weight of this. And then you take advantage of this heat energy coming from your center that, through the crystal will warm up your pineal. And then come the mantra that is associated. So in other words, instead to sit there and just start with the mantra or focus on your breathing, you use this, circulation, this heat, this your pineal. So in this, you access, faster the transcendence. So so in other words, you will see now. We will put this course pretty soon available on the Noosphere. And so you hold this one on the other hand, and then there is also an art of breathing that goes with it, because you want to also raise your energy. As explained, Dr. Dispenza, the spine is like a pipe where the energy flow. And then the Tai Chi yoga, they start to teach the breathing, abdominal, the heart, and then they bring the energy here. So in other words, with the breath, with the assistance of the crystal, the energy flowing, you can reach level of meditation, even with experiment meditator, faster. So the question about the crystal is like, which crystal? Of course, there is 100 shades, colors. Me, I have focused on what I call the meditation kit crystal. I would like to have like a house in crystal, whatever. I already have crystal everywhere in my home. So yes, they all have effect, and they all have property. What I done with crystal and stone, this would be another question. I try to use them also in products mixed with homeopathy. So you take advantage of the quality of some like the amethyst of others, with some kind of products. But this is the experience I have, and I'm very pleased to share this. And then in a few weeks, you will receive an email. You just look at it. If it's for you, if you like to explore this, you can, we will have these crystal available. Not only that, crystal by themselves, it's nothing. It's the technique, it's the knowledge. It's like learning healing. It's the information, the knowledge that come with the art of healing that is important.
Yes, and you almost touched right into our next question with that. Matter is pure energy just vibrating at different frequencies. So if solidness and separateness is just an illusion, how can subtle anatomy be anything but an illusion also? How could it ever be out of balance? Is this literal or just a perception?
In some way, we have to redefine words. When people say the word illusion, it's like, oh, it's illusion. It's like a trick. It doesn't exist. This is not, because originally the Hindu were speaking about the Maya, the world of the Maya. But then, people in some way has extended this to the idea, oh, everything is illusion. What the heck, right? But no, more you grow in consciousness, more you grow in awareness, more you grow in the responsibility, the more you are responsible of what's happening around. Okay, but okay, this is another conversation. So let me and go back to the Quantum Doctor book. Okay, consciousness is the ground of everything. Consciousness is the fabric of reality. In other words, it's real. It's, you know, the idea of illusion is like, okay, here I look at this hand, it looks hard, you know, I feel separate of it. Oh, but at the end of the day, if I start to look inside, I have the molecule, the atom, then I go deeper, deeper, and deeper, and then I find more space. Then I find the virtual particle. So I say, oh, because, you know, this you have all these other layers of perception. This is illusion. No, this is real. You know, matter is real. Consciousness is real. Consciousness is the fabric of reality. Consciousness is not, you know, you can say it's an illusion because it's like, oh, I'm looking at this, but at the end of the day, everything is vibration, if everything is frequency, everything is thing. So what the heck, you know? No, when we say illusion, it's because we are taking something for something else, but doesn't mean it's not real. So this, I find this in this question. This question is a little bit twisted in some ways that, oh, but what the heck about holistic anatomy if everything is an illusion? No, you know, it's like my obsession, my fixation, because, you know, I go to medical school. The fabric of the reality in medical school is anything that you see. You know, it's like what you see is the body. If you study the body part, if you study the circulation, the whole thing, now you got everything. No, you don't get everything because something is missing. What is missing is subtle energy. To understand subtle energy, then you have to look at quantum physics. And now when you look at quantum physics, you come with different angle of perception. You know, by example, you look at meridians, okay? First of all, for a medical doctor, meridian doesn't exist, you know? They just look at this little map and you have this little river and, oh, okay, I cannot find this anywhere. Oh, no. Now with quantum physics, we start to speak about the non-locality structure of the meridians. Hey, now later on, we find the Bongham circulation, so which is like, you know, a micro circulation that could be carrying this information. Oh, now we find the photon quality of the meridian. You have light circulating in this meridian. And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. So you go in different layers of perception, or I see sometimes different layers of information to start to understand the whole mechanic, quantum mechanic of this. This is where the obsession of Einstein, in some ways, like, you know, he could not put all the force together, but he was like caught in the fact that you have the Newtonian world, and now you have this quantum world functioning with different other law, and then as it goes, people come with different variety of explanation. But this is not, at the end of the day, holistic anatomy is not an illusion. It's an attempt to understand how works subtle energy at different level. And now science come with with prop, you know, the biophotons thing. So we tend to integrate this within the whole picture, electromagnetic field, scalar energy. So in other words, everything is just a witness at different level of how the energy works. So we try to put this all together. Why is it so important? It's so important because at the end of the day, how broad you will have defined your model of understanding the human being, how broad will be your capacity to intervene with different modality of treating. So if this is where medicine get caught, they get caught in the physicality, and now they're denying everything that has to do with chi, prana, not natural force, but, you know, vital force and so on. So, but now if you broaden your model of understanding, now you open the door to understand all these other modalities that all are already there for centuries. Then, you know, acupuncture Chinese acupuncture is out there for centuries, Taoist medicine, homeopathy, 400 years. So, but all these models of healing are locked in an outdated model of science. So, in other words, the holistic anatomy is there to expand this awareness, how work the thing. So, for me, no, it's not an illusion. It's like understanding the subtle nature of the fabric of reality. And more you go in this subtlety, so the within, the more subtle is as real than the other. You know, it's like and this is why all the time I'll say, hey, if you want to understand this concept, you have to, welcome some kind of technique of meditation, especially technique that transcend, because, experiencing consciousness every day, in and out, you grow your brain circuitry with a new awareness. So hopefully I answer this question, because it's for me. That was for me a project, holistic anatomy, that I had for maybe 20 years, because I said, most of medicine is almost defined by human anatomy and physiology, and will be defined, as long we don't come with something better. I'm not saying I have all the answer with holistic anatomy, but we draw here and there different model that start to be substantiated by science and research and experiment, like the biophotons is one of them, the the scalar energy is another one, and so on.
All right. Well, so to broaden on that protocol and expand even the neurological pathways, I think is where our next student is coming from with this question. He's saying, in developing my protocol, I wondered if an improvement is felt in, say, the physical and emotional bodies, but a mental change did not take place. Should the focus be next directed specifically to the mental body? For example, like healing, like energetic treatment, such as prayer or meditation. So they're saying, or he's saying, if you see results in the physical and the emotional body, but nothing mentally changed, should you then do a prayer or meditation or focus some sense of a treatment toward the mental body?
Yeah, this is another very great question. And this is when I'm talking of multi-dimensional model of healing. So in other words, you evaluate. And then, of course, we have until now a limited way to look at subtle energy. But you do an evaluation. When you look at the evaluation, you refer to the 5 pillars. You have some green, the 5 pillars, the five body of consciousness, the 5 elements. So and then from there you identify health parameters. You identify, where is more the preponderance. And then, at the end of the day, when you look at, so you have what the Dr. Goswami, we have the physical, the mental, the vital, the supramental, and you have the bliss. So in other words, most of the time they all affect together, and don't forget, these are just categories, but it's way more subtle but we have to create some map. So you may have a client that has a cancer. This one has, maybe, we saw this recently on the news, they were at New York, the World Trade Center, and there was this worker working in the dust, and then they got this lung cancer, probably, you have looked at this, most of the problem will be physical. This is not a cancer originated necessarily by the spirit, the mind, whatever, emotion. And I'm not saying there is not some component there, but, the toxicity predomination, if you fall in a flag of mold or whatever. So in other words, during the evaluation, you may see, oh, this cancer, maybe we have to do more detox. We have to do more cleansing. We have to work more on the physicality of the problem. But now you have another type of cancer. We saw this often sometimes. People, they have, good diet, they have boy, all the stress all their life, and then boom, remember I'm not saying this is the cause, but the wife of Paul McCartney, everybody was shocked because she was the natural one, and then she has a breast cancer. But maybe the cancer, the component, the physical component of toxicity or whatever was less than the emotional component or the spiritual component. So meaning that in your strategy, after you look at the whole picture, you may choose modality that, address more the level of information that you have found. So sometimes you cannot all the time disconnect the individual. Some people work in quantum medicine, it's like everything is in the spiritual. This is not grounded. You have to look at the whole, and you cannot deny the physicality. The nutrition has a role, the lifestyle habit has a role, the thinking has a role, the unconscious and all that carry on all these emotional conflict as a role, and the mental one has also a role. So, and this is what is consciousness medicine. So you look at the holistic picture, and now, I have picked this kind of grid to at least try to organize it. Maybe in 5 years, I will come with another more complex grid. And of course, so now this student, it's like, just go back, look at the whole picture, and then see what you have done, and then try to prioritize, what you think from this new analysis, what is important, because you cannot do everything, okay? Let's say the client, well, again, of course, they should all meditate, they should all lay through, they should all this. You have to, and this is what I teach in the course, you have to choose what is the less I can do to get the most result. And but most of the time now, this new naturopathic thinking is like, they walk in the office and they get out with $1,000 prescription of products. So let's see what is less can be done, and then you build around that. Is it the time to suggest meditation? Maybe, but then, or is it the time to change a lifestyle? Is it the time to address a conflict that is carry on with this cancer thing? This is how you will grow as a practitioner. You will develop an intuition, you will develop a skill that will be built with your result. What you're doing doesn't give result, you have to review it. Because when you right, the outcome is there. If it's not working, so you have to listen again the client, try to narrow down looking at this multidimensional grid, where to go next.
Okay, that was actually a two-part question. I broke it down into two parts, and you're going to find out why here. He goes on to say, would affecting the subtle bodies be considered the same as affecting the non-local? Because non-local is not in our tangible immediate presence or surroundings that we can physically send a signal to with touch or a chemical messenger such as medicine.
You see, I don't know if this come from the other question, the same person that speak about illusion.
It came
because
from,
it's like, what if it's non-local? It's not. This is, everything is intertwined together. The non-locality will respond to a touch, physical touch. Anything you will do at the physical will rebound in the non-local. It's all tied together. We're not separated. It's like, I saw someone the other day online explaining, the mind is outside and the brain is here. No, it's all together. It's all within. It's all in consciousness. Come back to this idea of consciousness is the fabric, and everything is intertwined together. If you have even a smell, any kind of product you think, it will ripple, on your subtle body that are non-local. This you speak the vital body, the physical. But of course, if you use a pharmaceutic, it doesn't mean you can reach higher level of information, but it will ripple. It's like nothing is separated here. Maybe I don't understand the question, but there is something in this question say that what is non-tangible. Because
Yes.
vital is as tangible than mental is tangible. That is supramental is tangible. Everything is tangible. The consciousness is the fabric of the reality. Everything is tangible. Everything is interconnected. It's like, oh, I have an action in the physical. It's not tangible in the, no, everything is glued together. It's, you don't separate things.
Okay, so let me ask you, I'm going to put these two together just because we've covered a lot of time already. So let me put these two together. Does entanglement also imply that the client influences me as a practitioner, like entrainment, whoever's the most coherent directs the outcome, for example, and then you can dive right into the difference between the tachyonic energy and scalar energy and electromagnetic energy and so on.
Oh yeah, both are interconnected together. And then we have to disconnect this. And then you have to learn from your client as much they will learn from you. The mirror, actually, you are not somewhere an attractor. And in my practice, it's amazing. In some week, you will have 2-3 people looking the same kind of problem. Yeah, yes, absolutely. They are your teachers, because you will learn through them. So you have to listen at them. It's very important. Listening, and that was another question coming to, listening is very important. So because if you have missed something, you don't have, so you have to sit down and listen. And they will tell you, because most of the time they have all the solution. So yeah, this entanglement you carry, in other words, you have your impact, they have their impact. You learn from them, they learn from you, and this is how you grow as a practitioner, because you learn things, and you have to be humble too, because nobody's perfect. You learn things, you grow with them. I grow with my student, I learn from them. It's like a dance, and sometimes the dance is not all the time, in harmony. You learn from this, it's like it's a growing process. And it's fantastic, because as a practitioner, you will discover a lot of things. I remember when I was in practice in Canada, these people. I had this lady, she was over 80 years old, and she was married for 40 years. And listening at her, I she was teaching me, and make me understand, what is the love, between two individuals. So that was very amazing. You learn from things. You learn from, the endurance, the tenacity. You learn from, capacity of people to heal and not heal. You will learn all this. It's like it's a school, and most of the time, you think, oh, I am a doctor for others, but the first one you want to heal is you are in the question for yourself too. You try to solve your own issues or existential question or trauma from the past, and I don't think there is a healer on earth that can say, oh, I have healed everything, I have nothing to learn. No, it's just a process of growth, growth. And this is why Noah said we come with this idea: heal yourself, heal the world. The first responsibility is about yourself. You have to reach that potential that you're talking about, and then the world is nothing. When you read, it goes from, you understand this, that more you're aware, more you grow in consciousness, more you become responsible. So in other words, you're not living in an illusion world where what the heck, because no, you're great in this awareness of where this interconnection.
Alrighty, so are the sounds Ta and Om interchangeable? Do they mean the same thing, but just come from the different cultures, maybe Egyptian?
What are you saying?
The sounds, when we use different sounds in meditation, the Om or the Ha. Of course, it takes a lot of breath to say it properly, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I don't clog the screen when I tell you.
The sound is not insignificant, carry on some kind of meaning, but when you meditate, you don't think about the meaning. So you have to find something that you tune with it. In the pro-consciousness meditation, I propose one, but you know, I'm not teaching, it's not a religion. You know, if you feel that this other vibe can fit more with you, at the end of the day, you will see, because this vibration will guide you to transcendence. The sound is like, you know, when you look at the universe, you look at all these layers of information, and before you get at this singularity point, it sounds almost, you know, it's so tiny, so subtle. It's almost just, you know, when Planck speak about the quanta, you know, the smallest quantity. So, and the thought is an input, is an energy. So in other words, we have the apparatus to go beyond, you know, just using this science of how to work with the sound. It's not, this is what I teach in the course. So meaning that, you know, and then some may resonate more with one because they have done this for years. So, you know, there is no forcing there. It's like, you know, you go what it suits to you. I like the sound, not the patat sound, because it has the mother and the father. You know, it's like I suggest this. TM may have like 8 to 10 different sound for different character. The primal with Deepak Chakra, you know, use also different sound accordingly to another type of chart. You know, I try to be more like universal. In other words, I don't want to tie this with some Hindu divinity. I don't want to tie this with some, you know, vibration that you don't know, that is attached to the culture. I was trying to find something that is more, it's not necessarily neutral, but it's like an archetype that belongs to everybody, the mother, the father, you know, the pata. It's like this is what, you know, is a sound that is the embodiment of your source. So, but it's religious. So, but you know, you go with your vibe, and then you will see, you know, it's like so sick, that space is so secret, you know, but we have to suggest things, but then you can take it from there. What is important is like, you know, the knowledge that come to have like a significant experience, to go deeper. And the breath is important. You know, the sound is not just the sound, it's how you passively, because the sound by itself, you know, if you put passive attention, will go to layers and layers, and then and dissipate, and then this is where you transcend, and then from there you access to the outer reality. So I explain all this in the class.
It's wonderful experiential. Maybe one of these quantum conscious momentums, we could start off with an experiential meditation. It could be just short, just.
Yeah, I will, because let's take some question from the student. Maybe we can do this with the noosphere.
Yeah, sounds good.
This would, for me, it's more the environment to do this. And the noosphere is there to, it's like a humanitarian type of a website where the intention for me there is to gather 1% of the population, you know, every day, to the idea of heal yourself, heal others. And I just saw recently a picture in I think it was in Thailand, of 1 million kids doing meditation at the same time. This is incredible. So, but can you believe that every day you have 1% of the mondial population will be 7 million. And, you know, people gather 7 million on Twitter now. So that they gather together and they repel this intention of heal yourself, heal the world. Because there is so need for everybody to be reached. And then through this, you know, intention, we can, I think we can uplift healing. And so we are refreshing the whole website also of the noosphere. In a few weeks, you will see that. During the last year with Shelley, we have added also what the Therapy, which is a scalar technology. that enhance, you know, to carry these intention at distance. You know, it's like you have now, it's amazing now. You will see, you know, in this new era, so many technology coming, designed accordingly to the understanding of this subtle energy. And the scalar is one of them. It's called the Terafy. And we have, you know, add this to the noosphere now during the last 2 years. And we will come with different kind of feature, but you know, we can grow, you know, and not only individually, but collectively in this intention of healing. And is it not what you are seeking for? You know, if you sign as a doctor of natural medicine, integrative, it's this with this heart intention to help others. But, you know, then on the side, you can have also this collective, you know, collectivity of people gathering around this same healing intention. And the world just needs that badly, I think. Okay.
So, and I'm looking forward to offering that to everybody to come and try if they haven't already been there. So here, I'm going to wrap up. This will be our last question just because we have been an hour already. So
Okay.
I have one last question for you. Do you recommend pre-framing the session regardless of the intended therapy, or to always ask questions before a session for a client to make a quantum shift in consciousness?
Okay, I bring you back to the step of spontaneous healing from Dr. Goswami. You know, you have these 4 steps, and the before the ha and the manifestation, you have the processing, and you have also and then the first one is listening. You know, I described this in the course. Very important, because if you have you just go, I don't know if I answered very well the question, but if you have like a protocol and everybody fit in, you know, I think it's better if you originally tune with the client, listen to the client, then you can, you know, adapt with your all your training and information, where to go with this client, instead to have like a fit in protocol, everybody channel here. It's like listening is to start with, to make happen this aha moment.
All right, so, you know, we're coming up to solstice, everybody, in just a few hours, and I just wanted to remind you all to set your intentions. But what I'm really coming to is that we also have the solar eclipse coming up, and we also have July 4th, which would be the date for our next Conscious Momentum. Dr. Paul, do you want to weigh in at this moment to say, will we hold Conscious Momentum, because it will land on July 4th?
Oh, you know, I didn't think about it. Are we July 4th already?
Well, no, in 2 Thursdays it will be, which is what we always
do. Oh boy. And then, and what day it is?
Thursday. Always.
Oh yeah, it's a Thursday, yeah. No, I think July 4th is like a break day.
Okay.
You know.
So we'll just skip that Conscious Momentum. And you know, we had so many great insights that were coming from Catalina and Linda and Jamie and Amanda. So even though we might pause for the complete month, we will pick it up with what you sent in. It was really beautiful. I'm really looking forward to sharing those. So Dr. Paul, would you like to close with any final
and when is the solar eclipse? Where and when?
Yeah, solar eclipse is coming up. That's July I was just looking at it, but it's coming up.
And where is the area in the world would be complete?
Well, primarily South America is where it will be a full solar eclipse, but of course, all the planets, our moon, everything passes through that energy, and the whole planet is in the energy. So even though it's full in South America, it's still.
Shelley, you have to go Peru now.
Yeah, let's go, everybody. Pack your bags. We've got a trip, road trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but we will follow up with this on the noosphere. You know, we have you know, we will keep you inform you with the new the meditation kit and the website and everything. There's so many things coming on now.
Yes, yes. So happy solstice to everyone, since that's only in a few hours from now. And remember, ships don't sink because of the water around them. Ships sink because of the water that gets in them. Being able to communicate is, that's our bailing apparatus. So make sure we really pay attention to those words that we're using, and the feeling and intention driving those words or delivering those words. So therefore, you don't let any problem get inside and weigh you down, right? Because we all know even problems aren't permanent. And remember what Swami Beyondananda says. He's a funny guy if you don't know him. He says, no matter where you look, there's the invisible field. So I'll leave you all with that and look forward to seeing you all again on our next Conscious Momentum.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Dr. Paul. Go ahead.
No. You have the last word. It's very well done. Very well said.
Well, thank you. And aloha, everybody.
Thank you.